Hey everyone, it's Dave and Ryan, December 1773. As always, bottom right of the screen for the subscribe. You know, gotta click it. Gotta get more great content like this. And this is December Extra Cuts. Look at the camera. Everyone look at the camera. Go. Today on December Extra Cuts, we got Ben with us. We got Ben and Ryan. I think Ryan's always with us.
I haven't missed one yet, my friend.
Yeah, you just watched me and Ryan for a while, so don't worry about us. Let's worry about our guest here, Ben. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm not bad, guys. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm glad we could set it up.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, look at that. Nice. Get a close-up of the...
Little cleavage shot.
The beard is coming in nice.
Yeah, man. Actually, I just I got trimmed up. My sister took care of me. You should go to her, bro. I should give you her credentials.
Yeah, I could use it.
Support a local. She does beards now too. They got approved for it. So.
Oh, very nice.
You got to get approved for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's a separate certificate to get approved for beards.
Well, I asked her, and she said it was a state thing, but before they had to run the regulations or whatever. As long as she has her mask on, you can remove yours for her to do your.
Oh, you mean? Okay, so you mean for the masks, not in general. Okay, just because of COVID.
Yes. Yes.
No, yes are the options.
Actually, all of the above, but
it's no or yes.
It was terrible. Barbershops, you need a barber certificate to be a barber.
Facial hair?
Which is different than cosmetology, which lets you just cut people's hair. They can do beard trimmings, but you ever go to a place and they'll actually use a straight razor?
Yeah, straight razors are great.
You can only get that done at a barber shop who's a licensed barber because that certificate allows them to operate a straight knife like that. So they're not the same.
It's a different schooling altogether with the certificate.
You have
barbering obviously is about men's hair in particular. Cosmetology is the study of all hair, but it's a separate certificate.
About 1 minute into this podcast, and you have made me hate the government more.
Sorry, dude. I actually have a couple things. I have a topic I'd like to break down even further after our very special guest Ben talks about what he wanted to come on the podcast and talk about today. But I do have something dealing with our great government in the state of New York and their constitution. Found out some things in there that I think are awfully skull fuckery, if I do say so myself. And
that is a term. Yes.
I made it up.
I'm going to fact check that right now, but I'm almost positive. Yeah.
Don't Google skull fuckery. Don't do it.
Especially with children around. I can't believe this podcast is allowed to stream sometimes.
It's our freedom of speech, man.
Yeah, sexualized frogs and little children.
No, stop saying that because I can't promote it when you say sexualized frogs. We get shut down. Sensitive content.
It's real though. I'm just sick of the chemicals that turn the frogs freaking good.
To fill you in, Ben, I run some Google ads for our YouTube channel, and our most recent video got shut down for sensitive content, and I submitted it for an appeal, as I always do, because I always get shut down immediately, and then I usually submit for an appeal, and then they reverse it, and then they run the ad. Well, I did that, and they said no, so I said, this is what you have to fix, so I fixed it, and they still said no. So our last video didn't get to air because of highly sexualized frogs.
I watched that, and I immediately went to Google and tried finding information on that. And wow. Wow. That's all I'm going to say is wow. How you guys came up with that and found that and were able to talk on that so much is beyond me, but wow.
I would be lying if I said it is not my hobby, because it is. We get our ads shut down because of everything that comes out of Dave's mouth mostly. It has nothing to do with it.
It's usually sensitive content or shocking material.
Yeah, it's mostly all me.
Yeah, violates Google ad policy.
Yeah.
I'm glad I violate a mass center for conglomerates of my information. All right, Ben, I guess we'll hand the torch to you, and you can get into why you came on today and what you want to touch base on and stuff.
Well, I don't know if you guys already touched base on this, but the Trump-Rogan-Biden debate.
So we did touch the base just a little, but if you want to further touch the base, go for it.
Yeah, we left this open for this discussion.
Did you?
Kind
I
of the
appreciate
breakdown
that.
of it.
Thank you. Did you guys get into the whole death of the media too? Because that
Very
plays
little.
a huge part
Very
in this
little.
whole Rogan Trump Biden debate. Yeah, I think it's going to be great if it ever happens. I just don't believe it will happen, to be honest with you. I don't think the Biden administration will let that happen. He is never going to talk in front of Trump. I don't think that will ever happen. No.
Do you think any debates will happen, like as far as like even covered by mainstream media, like they did in 2016 with Hillary, or do you think all debates, including the Rogan one, are all off the table for his campaign?
Yes, I do. And I'll touch base on this really fast, and you guys could stop me if you need to. But that's why I feel like COVID-19 was so blown out of proportion. The Democratic states, and I live in one of them, that's New York, social distancing right off the bat. Social distancing that's in place, that's needed, and I think that was because the Democratic, whatever you want to say, congregation said that we know Biden can't speak in front of Trump. We know Biden can't speak in a public place. So if we can't have debates, then we'd have nothing to worry about. If everything's just going to be one media staged and it's just the eyes focus on Biden, we're good. And I think that's what they're running with. I think that's why you have not seen a debate yet today. And how many days away from election are we? Days?
We'll put up the timer.
Yeah.
It's under 60.
Put up the timer. Thank you. But yes, I mean, when has this happened? When have we not seen a debate within 60 days? Is it maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
under 60 for sure.
It's crazy. It really is, and I think that's the reason why the COVID was so blown out of spades by these Democratic states is because that Biden can't speak in front of a crowd, and there's no way he's going to speak in front of Trump. I mean, Trump will just Trump him. The terms.
Do you think Biden's being told not to go to debates?
Oh, absolutely.
Or do you think Biden himself is scared to debate Trump?
It's Biden. He knows he can't talk. I think he knows that. Absolutely. And I think
he's aware of his cognitive decline.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
I'll bring this up to you because Kamala Harris slipped up and she said under a Harris-Biden administration. So do you think kind of like the plan is to push Joe through, prop a stick up his ass, whatever they got to do to get him through, and then they can kind of softly give the reins over to Kamala Harris when they think Biden's really on his way out?
Yeah, I think that's why they brought Harris in, to be honest with you. I think that they're going to claim some form of disability with Joe Biden, and he's going to have to be forced to step down, and Harris will take over as president of the United States if Biden is elected. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I brought this up before in a recent previous podcast with Ryan. Kamala Harris technically is not allowed to be president of the United States just because of her background. I don't think she was a naturalized.
She wasn't born in the U.S.? I didn't know that. No.
She was not a naturalized citizen. I think both of her parents, one's Jamaican and one's... I'd have to look up to know the exact details.
If you were born in the United States on a voyage to the United States, you were an American citizen. So if she was born in when she was on her way, she is an American citizen.
Yeah, so if she's born out of the country, they ran into this with Ted Cruz, and people were talking about this in 2016, because Ted Cruz was technically born in Canada. Mm-hmm. But because he was born to naturalized citizens, he was constitutionally allowed to be president. I think it was different with Kamala Harris. Again, I'd have to look up the details to know exactly.
I did not know that, so I can't speak on that. But yeah, I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, look it up when you get a chance. There was something weird with that where she's not constitutionally allowed. Ryan said that it doesn't matter. They're not going to let that get in the way. But
well, I don't think that's up to anybody's decision, other than it would be the Supreme Court then at that point.
Well, that
what if there's a vacancy in the Supreme Court during
did you guys already touch base on that one too? Am I late?
We led the podcast with Ruth Gator.
Okay.
Ruth Gator.
But Ruth Gator, whatever her name is. We led the podcast with her
Okay.
because we just figured it'd be the right thing to do. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, no, we didn't really tie into what if there was a vacant. We just talked about how we think Trump should just hammer the gas and get her in there, get anybody in there to fill that spot, even if it's not done before the election. Still start greasing the skids, and we think they're going to use it as a super political token to keep pushing to the masses that the reason you should vote for Trump is because I have a Supreme Court justice. I want this person, and they're going to turn it into politics.
Oh, it's a political gain at 100%. I mean, she died at the worst time. Bless her soul. She was a great woman. One of the first Jewish women I think she was the first Jewish woman in office, Supreme Court, but bless her soul, but she died at the wrong time, unfortunately.
Man. Yeah, she's one of 4 women to ever serve on the Supreme Court. So, it's groundbreaking,
Yeah.
But yeah, tying back into your point and stuff, yeah, if there's a vacancy in the Supreme Court, it would be you talk about Civil War ingredients to make a perfect recipe for it. You could put that up there because if the election gets contested or the mail-in voting becomes a problem or anything else, at some point it may have to go to a higher court every time to the Supreme Court. And if there's a vacancy, that could mucky the waters. And Dave and I kind of spoke on how Cortez, AOC, spoke about how there would be civilian unrest, if they pick a Supreme Court nomination before the election. And it's just this kind of thing of this continuation that we always see is that the government is just bullying the average individual into thinking a certain way, doing certain things, or speaking a certain way, or whatever it is. They just are really flexing their power. They've really flexed it under COVID. And going back to the debates, they'll flex their power there too, and whether they hold them or they don't hold them. And that is why I think the media is trash talk Joe Rogan. I spoke about this on the podcast episode a little today. But there was an article out, somebody from The View, I believe, the talk show The View, trash talk Rogan, said he was a misogynist, a racist, homophobic, transphobic. And he's now getting dragged through the gutter. And I think it's because they don't think debates are going to happen, or they know something we don't, or anyways, they know that if he goes on Rogan or if they both go on Rogan, it is going to shatter records. It is going to make the mainstream media so obsolete.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Because the long form discussion is taking over these news segments, are taking over these spoon fed, prepackaged media sound bites that we get every day.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's so powerful about Rogan and Biden and Trump. And I believe Trump should go on Rogan even if Biden doesn't. I think Trump should go on there by himself and record one and release it. If Biden's there, great. But I think if that falls through, Trump should do it. Joe has had on people that know Trump, like Dan Kershaw, I'm sure, and some other people. So I know the message will get to him of the importance. Don Jr. retweeted the tweet from Tim Kennedy, which actually sparked all this. Tim Kennedy spoke about it when he was on the podcast on September 11th and talked about him.
He was the one that said to have the debate. He was the one. Yep. Yeah, I watched that, and that was eye opening. I mean, why hasn't this happened? I mean, if you want to say social distancing is the reason for it, I mean, all of them are probably, even if they are or if they're not, all of them are probably doing the same thing we are, Skype or FaceTime or whatever. There's no reason there shouldn't be a debate if we have this technology to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Joe tests them when they're there in public, in person, so they know that they don't have the antibodies, or they know they don't have COVID or whatever. Yeah. So people, they do all the precautions, and not to mention he moved to Texas, so he's out of the California limelight. Well,
don't blame him.
Get the president down there, have him tear up, dude. That would get. I mean, some of Joe's views with the Elon Musk interviews and Alex Jones are ridiculous, but if he got a president on, dude, you're talking earth-shattering when it comes to media and the way that we consume discussions.
He got more than just a president on there. He got a president and a potential president in a presidential debate. That is huge. That would be the first time that's ever happened, my friend.
Yeah.
For the first ever debate between the two, that would be crazy. And that's why the media is probably not doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
And that's why they got to trash talk him. They got to put him in the propaganda machine. They got to prop up these straw men that they say about Joe, about him being this and that or transphobic because he has, controversial people on and discuss these topics. It will, and not to mention the outreach that Joe Rogan would get to the average person. He'd be able to get some, not saying he would give compromise, but he gives the platform that I think people need to reach compromises with each other when they have different points of view. I think he's the type of guy, he's the type of media that we need to have those discussions, to have like good civil discourse and not have this riots or have this hyper polarizing points of view that is bled over into almost every bit of our media that we consume. Even Instagram, a lot of people fled Facebook because all the politics in 16 and went to Instagram. Well, now Instagram, man, it is nothing but, police brutality and butt models.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just been like, it's just been taken over. It's just been hijacked. They've hijacked the ether. And it's going to happen to slowly, one way or another, one of these topics will work their way in there. But I think, I think Trump should do the Rogan thing regardless, Biden or no Biden. And even be awesome for the country.
Even if Trump said no, I think Biden should still do it. Just to see how Biden can answer questions. We have not seen an unscripted. I personally don't believe we've seen an unscripted question error against Biden. I don't think we have. But
yeah, he does get softballs. He had the town hall a few days after Trump had his town hall, and just the question difference were much different.
Yeah,
and they're showing their hand, man. They ran their whole campaign on not being Trump, and they paint it like it's a bad thing. I think him doing some of the stuff like going on Joe Rogan's podcast would show like a whole different side of Trump in that type of format. It might, because I don't know if you've seen his. He had Bernie Sanders on there, and I'm not Bernie's greatest supporter or his biggest fan by the stretch of the imagination, but I did look at him different. I did see him as more of like a human, as a person, as a guy with different beliefs, instead of the minute that he talked on Fox News that pissed me off, or something dumb that he said in a 15-minute second segment that got me aggravated. Like, I was actually able to have him go through a thought process and break things down, which we need that now more than ever, especially with all of this division. We need this.
Absolutely.
It'd be very different as opposed to the standard debates that we're used to, where here's this super complex question, and how to fix America. You have 30 seconds. Go.
I'm not Trump. I'm not Trump.
They got to read their script and they go over the 30 seconds by like 30 minutes and nobody catches it up. But yeah. No, I but my biggest thing is I'd be curious to know what kind of questions Rogan has too. Would he steer away from the mainstream questions? Would he ask his own questions? I don't.
I don't know.
I think
do you just
Rogan,
sit down and let Trump go wild?
Have you ever sat there and listened to some of Rogan's podcasts, man? The questions he asks people, it's just crazy. And to hear what these people come up with, I think it'd be one of the best interviews.
I don't think Rogan would do anything other than Rogan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, have you done DMT before? You feel like elk? You can take elk with you.
Trump's presidency. Well, how do you think Biden got here?
Rogan talking to Trump about micro dosing.
Yeah, be like, dude, look, I know it'll solve you. You got a back problem? We'll just boom, stick it with some steroids. I got a vitamin D drip in the back. You can take some elk home. You'll feel like a new man. Stop drinking those Diet Cokes, dude. Drink these Athletic Greens. I got Black Rifle coffee, man. You're good. Break out a Mike Tyson blunt. Elon Musk ripping the blunt is still one of the best pictures on the internet.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe that guy. He's like, it's legal, right? He's like, yeah, it's legal. He's roasted. We need this. This guy's a national treasure. I'm so happy he's independent. I'm so happy. Like I've listened many, many podcasts of Joe, and it's just still incredible that, it is what it is and the things he does. It's awesome. It's good for us too, trying to break out and do our own kind of media thing. But yeah, man, that it so should happen.
I think we talked about this is the one thing Rogan hasn't done. I mean, between stand-up comedy, MMA, he did Fear Factor, and he was on the Chappelle Show, and I mean, he's done everything you could possibly imagine. This is the one thing Joe Rogan has not done in his life.
Interviewed a president. I mean, hey, Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy interviewed the president, man. I mean,
It was a great president interview, dude.
It was. It was. He goes to shake his hand. He's like, I don't have COVID. Yeah, I don't have COVID. They shake. Yeah, but you were tested before you came in here. Yeah.
Yeah, he just seemed like a regular person. Trump relaxed, and just some of the stuff he was saying too was super funny. But yeah, the Rogan thing would be so. You need elk, Trump. You need elk. I'm sure he would just let that dude fly off the handle too. Like just let him his long. We got a great program growing. It's the greatest ever. America's never been better. I've done more. Like, just let him do his points for like 2 hours.
This is the most tremendous we've ever been.
We've never had a bigger comeback than this. Like, all right, Trump, you're full of shit, but okay.
I mean, hey, he's not wrong.
It's funny, dude. It's so funny.
But yeah, that's I think. I would like to see it. I really would. 100%.
We'll see. Something that I think we can segue after this. I just want to make one more point on it because I think it'd be so important for independent media because all of mainstream media would have to go to an independent creator to get the news to give to the public. Like it would normally it's the other way around. Like the mainstream gets it, then independent, and then the people get it. It would flip that. It would change the dynamic, and it'd be positive for everybody except for mainstream media, which is, as you said yourself, Ben, probably why it's not going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, think of how much media is already lost to Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, and the side fact of it is it's kind of, and most of it is true. I mean, everybody has a cell phone nowadays. They can whip out their phone, start recording, and that's what you see. You see that before the newscast can write a script on it and start recording and putting it out to the media. I mean, it's today's now factor of information, and that's why I think that's going to take off faster than any media source will.
Yeah, I can't agree more, man. And like with the media dying out too, they got to cling to what they can alter, which is these headline. I read a headline the other day that said, I don't know if it was Fauci or some other doctor, but they're like, vitamin D is not the silver bullet to stop COVID, right? Like it was about vitamin D and COVID was the headline. And by the time you get to through the body of the article and they explain like, look, COVID, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, that makes sense. And then you get to the bottom of the article and it says, although most Americans are deficient in vitamin D, you should supplement it anyways because it's a main pillar in overall health. It's like, so it is good against COVID. It's obviously not the silver bullet, but like if most Americans are vitamin D deficient, it's a crucial part of your immune system. Yeah, it does help you against COVID because health and exercise help you against COVID. Like how you got to cling on to what you're dying to. You got to cling on what you can change, and that's how they influence us, And it's just if the main problem I have is that people aren't aware to it though. Like they'll see it, be like, oh, that's just whatever, bad news reporting, or they want to push an agenda. You see it, but when you see it 100 times, when you see it 200 times, you're like, this is a narrative. This is like people are specifically saying certain things to make you think and feel a certain way. And I think more people are waking up to this, but it's still not enough, man. It's Orwellian. And it's a plan. This doesn't happen by accident.
No.
And Rogan would put a sword through the neck right there, man, on that dying media system. It needs to happen. Obviously, we'll keep our ear to the ground, but I am not holding my breath with it. But I do think Trump should do it. And yeah.
I truly do believe you're not going to see a presidential debate. Between these two candidates, I really don't think you will. Just for the sure fact of Biden cannot speak, and that's just kind of what I think and what I believe, and it's kind of played out that way to begin with. So,
not to get super off topic, but I gotta ask. I've been looking at your background now for a while. What's going on back there? You got like a grate. There's like a window, something, and then like some kind of grate. What the fuck? Are you in some weird...
Is that an air return?
That is the window for my basement.
That's the window for your basement.
Yeah, this opens because new houses have to have escape windows in their basement.
So,
In case
I
you
was
wake
trying-
up on Epstein's Island.
Yeah. Well, I ain't
As
gonna be
long
at my
as you're in the-
basement.
You mean you don't have secret recording equipment all throughout your house? What's wrong with you?
Actually, we do have a home security system, so actually we do have that. Yeah.
Oh, look at you. We'll be making videos later. No,
They
look
are
at that.
they are in the bathrooms too. So
Better not miss and piss on the seat, man.
Well, I
Getting
just
shit.
like I know everybody who does. Oh yes, but I'm in my basement. Yes, and that's the escape window.
I was wondering. It looked like you were a captive.
Yeah. You guys are forcing me to do this, so
I'm holding a virtual gun to your head. So I got something. I was doing some research yesterday. Well, whatever, over the weekend, and
Yesterday would have been the weekend.
thanks, Dave. Thanks for the Captain Obvious.
today
award.
is the start of the week too.
Yeah, but I was doing a reading. My fiance is directly in the medical field. She works at a nursing home. So I got very curious about the nursing home deaths and all the controversy around it. So I started looking into the law. Okay. So the law is they have to, by law, accept people in nursing homes that are COVID positive. Andrew Cuomo signed the law exclusively. When he basically, through executive action, gave himself dictatorial power, he was able to pass legislation without even getting it voted on, like mass numbers of bills, and the nursing home was one of them. Now, Cuomo doesn't want to have the investigation in the nursing home debacle because he doesn't want it to become political, even though it's clearly political, that it's not being looked into. But besides that other fact, I got very curious about our New York State Constitution this weekend, and I wanted to do some digging on it, and I found out that there's 3 amendments that have actually been removed from the New York State Constitution. And one of them that is so important, it's actually perfect that you're now a homeowner, Ben, because there was once a amendment in our Constitution in New York State that the person who owned the land owns the actual land. So when you would pay property tax, you would pay it off until a certain amount of time, and then you actually own the soil. That has been removed from our Constitution in New York State. And another one, which is also super crucial in New York State, is all Indian treaties before 1775 were supposed to be the law of the land in New York State. Anything made after that date is not supposed to be used as a treaty. That amendment has been removed. And when you travel on R90 and you go into the reservation area, they have a sign on the side of the road that says New York State owes the Senecas and owes the Native Americans like $600 million or something.
Yeah,
crazy.
it keeps going up every time you pass it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. It's right after the Wasena tolls, I believe it is.
Yeah.
But
Who are you talking with, too?
That's Dave and Ben. We're recording the podcast. I'm almost done. Did you just fart on me? Get out of here. Go upstairs. We'll go get ice cream after. Go on. Yeah, get going before I toot on you. Make sure the door's closed this time, please. And she didn't even close the door. But
yes,
people do more than one children.
Yeah, but that sign is moved all the way up, and then it keeps going up. But
Yeah, dude, it's just so funny to me. You know, the founders of the state were like, look, there's a very specific reason why we're doing this, because they knew what would happen in the political system, and then they removed this amendment to go back on Indian treaties that they signed. This is typical government. They create the problem, they offer the solution, they act as a savior, and it still doesn't fucking work. This is the textbook government plan, and dude, we think about moving to a more red state nearly every year with stuff like this. And when I was just going through the Constitution, another thing I was very curious in the New York State Constitution, Because obviously, federally, there's the Second Amendment, which guarantees the right to bear arms. I looked up in our Constitution what lawful protection there is there, and it only speaks about militia members, which is also something I thought that was very funny. It's under the defense section in the New York State Constitution. But it's just weird how, like, our founders were so, most of the founders were so, like, adamant on making sure that the power stayed with people, and, like, making sure that the things they set up would be able to last longer, because they didn't want Indian treaties to be reneged on, or they didn't want excess spending, or whatever their warnings were. You know, it's a republic if you can keep it. You know, like, they knew that this is a very fragile thing. And Dave and I kind of spoke earlier. There was a headline that Americans didn't know how many Jews died during the Holocaust, and we were kind of linking to that. People don't know their history, so it's very hard for them to put modern events into context and relate them to be like, if it's better or worse now than it was 50 years ago. Because we don't know, the average person doesn't know where we came from. They think the world's shit now. You know, they think all the police brutality going on now is this huge crisis, you know, and it's not. The world's the safest and the best it's ever been. There's more healthcare and food and education and access to things before and resources. It's never been like this ever in human history. We live in the best time ever. But when you turn on the media or when you talk to people, they think the world is just a pile of hot garbage.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And again, that's because you turn on CNN, you turn on Fox News, and it's just nothing but bad news. And then I watch, I'm an independent, and I watch Fox News. I'll put it that way. But even Fox News will put on terrible news, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. If you ever turn on the news and you watch something positive, you're waiting for the next segment because you know it's going to be negative. I just don't. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy too. I think it was Mark Twain or some other brilliant thinker in the time, but he said if you don't read the newspaper, you're not informed, and if you do read the newspaper, you're misinformed.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, and Mark Twain's probably been dead 50 years, let alone how old he was. So that's like 100 years old we're dealing with, at least. You know, the same quote. It's so true.
Yeah.
And I'm just fearful. I think people are waking up. I have two personal friends of mine that have kind of had the media veil removed from their eyes. I think it's happening. It's good. I don't want to downplay that, but I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's enough. These politicians feeding media and the media feeding politicians. Joe Biden getting softball questions, or the way the media defends Joe Biden and Harris, and they'll attack Trump. You know, it's just so, I don't know if it's ever been so obvious before politically, and I'm happy the news is dying the way it is. It's just going to be, the next 5 years are going to be very crucial for this country for a very long time, because it's going to really set up what kind of government people are expecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Ben, I wanted to get your personal take on the police brutality and these police problems that have been happening.
Uh-huh.
I know you have family members that are in law enforcement and other elected positions, and just like, what's their, I don't know how much you've spoken to them about it, but what's their general mind state? Like, what do they think about the chemistry of the country when it comes to this kind of stuff and police and law and order?
Well, I can't sit here and speak for them. I know my family members that are in law enforcement. They're guys that wake up every day, and they'll go out. They'll support their community and do everything they can to keep the people safe in their community, despite of what's been shot to them, and how they are treated, and how the media or government will like to treat them. I know that they still wake up every day and go out there and do their jobs and take it to the best of their abilities to do it. And we can't thank them enough, and we can't thank any of them enough for doing what they do. But I think that they just try to do their job the best they can. To be completely honest with you.
Okay. Do you personally think that this is a thing that will pass? or do you think that do you think that this will be a time in America that we really look at law enforcement, pick out the good and the bad, and we'll maybe redo some things in the system that aren't quite correct, or clean up some of the trouble? Or do you think that there's just so much emotion tied to all this that it's going to be really hard for something good to come out of it? Because it's just been this brandishment of police and the victims, and there's a loss for information and facts and nuance when it comes to talking about this.
I don't think it will pass. No. If anything was going to be done with it, I'll take it back to the LA '92 riots. I think something would have stood there and happened there, nationwide. I think you're always going to find hate in people who dictate what you do, or if you want to say dictate, that's a strong word, but just the people who look over you and look after you and ticket you and arrest you. And I think you're always going to have disagreement and whatnot, and how they feel and what they think towards you. So no, I don't think it will ever change. I think we're always going to step in the side of the police are always bad. Screw the police, F the police, whatever. I think that's always going to be an American issue.
And you think it's because maybe the average person doesn't really realize what police do every day for them, the stuff that you don't see, like tickets or anything, that's face value, but catching a drug dealer or stopping a child ring of trafficking or whatever it is, that we're not exposed to all the information and all the stuff that they do, so it's hard for us to balance that with the other talking point?
If I think I asked your question correctly, no, I don't think that at all. I think it's just a set group of people who believe that they're being treated unfairly, and that they want to see justice done, but they're not. They're failing to see what justice they are doing or how they act as citizens in the country. So no, I don't believe that. No, I think I believe everybody sees that there's more to tickets and arrest. I do believe that. Yeah.
So you just think people are just this is on purpose, basically.
From the police or from the citizens?
From the citizens.
That the police are doing it on purpose?
No, that the citizens, the reaction to the police is on purpose.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. No doubt in my mind. I think it's just a trap to get attention, in a way, and to get out of.
Yeah, because
Because
there's a contract, right? Like there's this. I want to say it's unwritten, but it's not. I mean, we have a constitution, we have a declaration, we have state laws, we have statutes, we have all these things written that it's basically a contract between the civilians and the people elected, and then the military and first responders. There's all these systems in government that we all have these written but unspoken contracts with, and I think people are really testing that now because we don't understand it fully. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, if you could just take it back 3-4 years ago, that Sanchez shooting in Florida, I forget the first name of that young man that was shot by the police, the off-duty officer, I believe it was. I mean, I don't see why there wasn't such an uproar then as there is now. But yeah, I do agree with you on that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure BLM has higher funding now than they did back then.
Absolutely.
I mean, that money is crazy. There's been websites that talked about where the money goes, and it's basically all going to the Democratic National Committee when you're donating to BLM. Like most people probably be better off pooling their money and doing something locally instead of trying to go with this national organization, rather.
Yeah.
Joe Biden gave a speech. I don't know if you guys caught this, but he had a speech, and it was like his science speech. Dave and I touched a little bit earlier on the effectiveness of masks versus vaccines, but it was so funny to me that they claim to be the party of science, but then the reasons that they blame Trump for it has nothing to do with science.
Yeah, I was
Joe Biden.
I was watching something similar. He was
Joe Biden.
trust the scientist. But why hasn't Trump done anything? Why isn't Trump doing
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, he
Only
called him
trust
a
the
climate
scientist.
arsonist. He called Trump a climate arsonist. Like Trump's deliberately going out there and starting fires to talk, like have the bad things the Democrats are doing up to their serve. Like there's some political tie to why he's doing this. It's so funny to me that we just talk about the mainstream media and all their power and stuff, and this is just they're giving softballs for Joe. They let him go. They don't fact check him. They just let him ramble off at the mouth. They said they have to solve the climate crisis, but they don't offer solutions. They just
Right.
we're the party of not Trump.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I thought it was funny though because he kept talking about carbon free and how they want to grow like the electrical sector to a level that it's never been and make all these jobs and get us off, get all these jobs in green energy. But they don't offer practical solutions. Like they're not like, I want to pass a bill that does this. It's just more of the same with these people that we are not like Trump, but we have to fix all these problems. And then they're lumping the problems that the climate is facing on a person, more so than nature or more so than pollution or more so than, something else that actually has a direct influence on. The Climate Paris Agreement is not a good idea when it's only hurting the United States economy, but not the other large producers of global greenhouse emissions. We're the one that has to change our economy. They don't. China can dump all the pollution they want, but America has to cut back on theirs. We have to limit our oil reserves, or we have to do all these. They want to stop airplanes. They want to stop car travels. Get the cat inside. But the other countries don't have to do this. It's the do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, I don't think I agree with you on that, but I don't think we'll ever see a total global green contract, even if the United Nations were to do something about it. Just for the sure fact of if China's so big and produce goods for the entire world rather than just the country, they have so much waste that they produce. There's nothing that we're going to be able to do or say is going to stop them from however they dispose of their waste. There's no way in hell that we'll ever see that. And not just
it's
China,
also funny
Middle
that
East too. Whatever they produce, however they get their oil out of the ground, you'll never see that. No, never.
I hope by my daughter's. I hope within my daughter's lifetime that the world can run on green energy, or have more green, or have a cleaner Earth. I hope all that in my daughter's lifetime. I know in my lifetime I won't see, solar powered cars on every block. I know that that's not going to happen. But yeah, it's a good point, Ben, about bringing up how these other countries aren't signing because they always talk about, especially Trump with North Korea, that he's like, they're not going to honor the treaty. North Korea is not going to honor the treaty signed with Trump, but you think China or India or some of these other countries are going to agree to the climate agreement. Iran and the Iran deal, they didn't agree to their Iran deal that they passed with Obama. It's just like they don't care, but they'll leverage our economy on it. They'll slash our production of the energy that we produce that we need to sell and we need to consume. They'll slash all that. Basically, it's another common theme with them. They're willing to risk the economy and cripple everybody's state of life for their political agenda, whether it be for COVID or whether it be for the Green New Deal. They're for revolutionizing the way that America operates. And I've never seen it like this. I've followed politics for, the better half of 5 years, a little higher than that. I've never seen it be so transparent. I've never seen so much propaganda. I've never seen things spun and twisted in such a way to try to get ideals or a narrative passed by these people.
No, I don't. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I don't see. I see that too. Just in nuclear deals itself, whether it's China, Russia, Iran, Korea. I mean, that what you explain is translucent in all those deals, and those will all cripple the economy just as the same as any foreign good deal.
Yeah, we talked a little earlier about the tariffs and things, and how they're bad for our economy. We pay more, but there's like nothing we can do to get these countries to sway. And that's what's so crazy about the Trump peace deals. It's crazy that they've gotten them to agree to something that's taken so long. They've gotten an agreement with all these other countries to recognize Israel as its own state.
Yeah.
It's like it's incredible how much has happened in these very 4 short years of the Trump administration.
The guy shook hands with North Korea's dictator.
Yeah, man.
If that
Met him
doesn't
in
say
person.
if that doesn't say a lot, then I don't know. I don't know what does. I don't know how you can sit here and continue to bash him. The guy's done so much for this country in the past 4 years. I agree. I disagree with a lot, and I agree with much more. So, absolutely.
All right, I got another take. I got a question I want to ask you because it's something Dave and I have talked about on the podcast. They say don't talk politics and religion with people.
Yeah.
I'm almost done, princess. Okay, hold on. I'm almost done. Come on. Leave me alone. No, not the hair. My hair's going to be blowing everywhere. You know how they say don't talk politics and religion with people and strangers and stuff? How do you feel about it?
My first reaction to them, and the first thing I say is when somebody brings up politics or religion, is I don't discuss politics because I don't like sharing my beliefs, and I'm a born Christian, but not by choice. So that's how I handle those situations.
So you don't dabble in them either. You don't entertain them. You won't talk politics in public with strangers.
If I feel the time is right, I will. If I feel the atmosphere is right, I will. But I mean, I just, a lot of people I don't feel are capable of handling how I believe in religion and how I believe in politics. No.
Do you think it's a huge problem in this country that we can't talk about these kind of things? Like, do you think the country would be a better place if we had more open discussion about those topics?
Politics, yes. Religion, no. And the reason I say that is we should talk about government. We should be able to express how we feel about the people who run our country. But I don't think we should really sit there, and I don't think you should judge somebody or discuss how you believe in your God. No.
You gotta write it on the circle.
That makes sense. I always think they do kind of. It's weird how much they similar.
You just missed my M.
Yeah, how about you go upstairs and have your mother draw it for you?
I'm sure you have to draw it.
You're supposed to not distract me. Do you know that?
This is M.
Dave, how do you feel about that question?
Good job. Sit down, please.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I kind of agree with you a little bit. I mean, I'll talk if somebody wants to talk about it in public. I'm open to talk about it, but for the most part, I certainly don't bring it up.
No, I don't like discussing it. No, because then it turns into an argument, and it's not what I was there to do. Unless somebody has the same beliefs in me and the same views as me, then I'm all for it, bashing the other side or who doesn't disagree with us. But no, I mean, I just don't like doing it.
Yeah. And I see what Ryan's saying, but I kind of, again, unless somebody wants to talk about it, I just won't. I won't bring it up.
Yeah, there's plenty of polls that talk about how people are scared about discussing politics. And they got to go hand in hand that we're at each other's throats, and there's all these extreme things brought to the surface, like the riots or police brutality or the economy or whatever it is, but we can't sit down and discuss the simple, basic logistics of our government. It's pretty incredible to me. So that's why I figured I'd ask, because
no, it's a good question. I never really had that question asked to me, but yeah.
Because I know you and I, as long as I've known you, we pretty much have dabbled in politics in our meetings together and times we ran into each other. And it's never been like a violent or negative thing, like it's always been a good discussion. And
we have
I
similar
feel
beliefs.
Bad for people that can't have, yeah, for sure. But I just wish more people could have that kind of outlet. You know, we get all this news and stuff every week and every day, and we don't express it. We just all hold on to it and internalize it. And I think if more people had those discussions about things, it wouldn't be so much built up tension. And then I don't think we'd see so much blowback on our presidents and stuff when he passes something you don't like. We wouldn't see people crying over it or screaming at the rooftops that Trump is president. They'd be able to handle that. You know, they call it Trump derangement syndrome, but I just really think it's the suppression of not being able to talk openly about these beliefs.
Mhm.
It's like a self PTSD almost.
Yeah, I see that.
Cool. Okay,
You know?
I got one question for you guys. December 1773. Is that because that's the turning point of the American Revolution based off the Boston Tea Party in December 6th, 1773?
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Very good. I like that.
That's
Gotta go
100%.
upstairs, honey.
Very
Yeah, 100% where that comes from.
Dave did all the branding on that one.
good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you look in YouTube when you like type in December 1773, there's just stuff on the Tea Party. There's no like real thing carved out there. It's kind of like our hole, like our way to glitch the matrix. And like I hashtag everything December 1773, and there's not many in that hashtag. So I'm like, dude, we could build this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just how that's performed, because that's considered the turning point of the American Revolution, the Tea Party in 1773. So I picked up on that right away, but I wasn't 100% sure if that was the case, and I was just like, well, based off how you guys say getting back to the roots and everything like that, I was like, that's got exactly what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'd like
to.
it.
I think we need another turning point. So that's kind of.
Yeah, that is good. I like how you guys did that.
Yeah, Dave was the brand master on that one.
Yeah, I don't have much time left here.
That's good. That's good. But I'll leave you guys. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. You guys want to do it again sometime? Let me know. But I'll stay in tune and I'll keep watching what you guys do.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you for your support and thanks for coming on. You're welcome. Yeah, man. I enjoyed talking and hope to hear from you soon, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do more.
Awesome.
More. In the meantime, if you want to catch more, bottom right of the screen, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you for more extra cuts and for more of our weekly show.
Very good. Thank you, guys. God bless.
Later, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. America.